Welcome back. Well, the cues are a little more even this morning. The implied open is suggesting that we'll pull back by, who knows, at least 100 points or so. Let's look at individual stocks now, and there are plenty to track this morning as well. Our team is standing by with the CNBC-TV18 list of top stocks to watch. Let's kick it off first with HCLTech. Rima joins in. Rima, so on point?
Thanks so much for that. So HCLTech's numbers were largely in line with street expectations. Revenues were slightly lower. Constant currency revenue growth came in at 3.8%, lower than consensus expectations of about 4.1%. But margin expansion is intact. The company's margins expanded to 19.5% versus 18.6%, and that drove an 8.5% increase in the company's profitability. So margin and profit performance was in line with street expectations. The company has also raised the lower end of its full-year revenue guidance. The earlier guidance was 3.5% to 5%. Now they're talking about 4.5% to 5%. And one of the reasons for the upgrade at the lower end is on account of the HPE asset acquisition that the company concluded in just December. Margin guidance remains unchanged at 18% to 19%. Deal wins are steady, a little over $2 billion. The management commentary is also fairly upbeat. They're talking about their deal pipeline being at an all-time high. Large deals were signed in AI and generative AI-led. The average tenure of the signed deals is getting shorter. So overall, the commentary is fairly positive, and they also indicated the clients are looking to increase their IT investment in calendar year 2025.
Thanks a lot for that, Rima. In fact, we'll have the management who will be joining us here on CNBC TV18 at 9:40 a.m. Well, let's move on to the next stock that we're looking at. Sudarshan joins us to tell us about JSW Energy. Morning, Sud.
Morning, Nigel. So I'm going with green for JSW Energy. His company has acquired KSK Mahanadi Power under corporate insolvency resolution process for the total bidding amount of nearly 16,000 crore, that is rupees 15,985 crore. And company had outbid NTPC and Adani Power. Adani Power's bid was around 15,008 crore. And closure of this deal will be subject to regulatory approvals, that is NCLT and CCI. So currently KSK Mahanadi Power owns total thermal power plant capacity of nearly 3,600 megawatt, of which 1,800 megawatt is operational and another 1,800 megawatt is under construction. So what will this deal do to JSW Energy? Post this deal, JSW Energy's lock-in thermal generation capacity increases to 7.5 gigawatt, and company believes this deal will help achieve the target of total power generation capacity of 20 gigawatt much before the company's target of 2030, and that's the reason I'm going with green for JSW Energy.
All right, so thank you very much for that. Coming back to you for more in a bit from now. Well, United Spirits is in focus, and so is Delta Corp. Mangalam is here with to tell us why. Mangalam, morning.
Good morning. So for United Spirits, another day. In fact, after a surprise exit of Neville Narona from DMart, United Spirits also will have an exit. Hina Nagarajan will step down from March 31st of this year itself. And the reason why she will is because she has to take over other responsibilities in the Diageo group itself. So maybe a promotion up as against, just a resignation. The company will have Praveen Someshwar, who will take over as MD CEO starting FY26. Praveen Someshwar has been the MD CEO of HT Media for the last 5 years. Prior to that, he was with PepsiCo for the last 24 years. This is typically a risk for MNCs where key leaders are moved out into different geographies or at the global leadership itself. So smooth transition is something that the street will eye. Until then, there will be some bit of uncertainty, see red out there. And also see a lot of red on Delta Corp because the company reported what was a weak performance in a seasonally strong quarter. And that tells you that, structurally, the demand for casinos may have been dented a little bit because of the GST regime at 28% for all the bets. Revenue is down 7.5%, and that's played out in the operating performance as well. EBITDA down 42%, and the net profit has shown a minor growth only because there was a tax credit of 6 crores versus a tax expense of 15 crores. There was, decline in the casino business revenue, down 3.5% in terms of revenue, operational performance as well. The EBIT down by 20%. For online business, while the revenues increased by 16%, the EBIT loss increased from 1.7 crores to about 18 odd crores. Yes, the company has admitted that there is a relief in terms of a stay order to the claimed GST, but then again, they hadn't made any provisions for that. The bigger trigger for Delta would be any change in the actual GST, implementation of 28% across all face values of bets.
Okay, absolutely. So we're going to watch out for this. see the impact on Delta and, of course, United Spirits as well. With that, let's quickly move on. We have Vamakshi joining in. She's looking out at some of the results and updates we've got in from Angel One, as well as Anand Rathi. Vamakshi, good morning.
Well, not a great set of numbers coming in from Angel One. Revenue saw a downtick of almost 17% sequentially. EBITDA margin too saw a dip of nearly 507 basis points to 39.3%, and the net profit was down by nearly 34% sequentially. Largely, the decline in revenue was being led by the net broking, which was down nearly 10% sequentially, and this was mainly on account of impact from the F&O regulations on F&O brokerage and weak market sentiment on the cash brokerage. The net interest income too saw a downtick of nearly 6%, and this is largely better than what the analysts were expecting. But it is the higher OPEX that has led to a decline in margin as well as the company's profitability. The cost to income ratio has risen to 60.71% as compared to 55.6% in Q2 of FY25. In addition to that, they've appointed Ambarish Kenge as the group CEO of the company with effect from March 6, 2025. So overall, a weak set coming in from Angel One. Anand Rathi is the next counter I'm watching out for, going with the green for this counter, and that is because they've gone ahead and raised their revenue guidance to 980 crores from 910 crores and raised their net profit guidance to 295 crores as compared to 280 crores. AUM for the company, the growth was rather subdued at 1.76% sequentially. The AUM guidance, however, remains unchanged at 80,000 crores, 95% of which has been already achieved in the first 9 months of FY25. The net inflows, however, saw a good uptick of almost 47% sequentially. Revenue from operations were down nearly 2%, but the operational performance of the company was better because the PBT margin improved by 180 basis points to 43.9%. The net profits saw an uptick of nearly 2% sequentially. In addition to that, the board has approved bonus shares in the ratio of 1:1, so expect some uptick on that front as well. So going with the green for Anand Rathi.
Okay, all right. Thanks a lot for that, Vamakshi. But let's wind this down then with Upasana, who's here to tell us about Himat Specialty Chemicals and BEL. Upasana, take it away.
First up, let me start with Himat Specialty Chemicals. Well, overall, the company has reported a good set of numbers. The revenue saw an uptick of 8% on a one-web basis, and EBITDA stood at 221 crore with a growth of nearly about 27%. Now, company's key segment, that is carbon material and chemicals, has expanded sharply. That is nearly about 370 basis points at 16.3% is what the expansion has come in at, leading to an overall margin expansion of nearly 290 basis points. So overall margin started at 19.4% versus 16.5%. Company's PAT stood at 142 crore with an uptick of 30%. This is mainly because of company has taken various cost optimization measures. Now, mind you that the board has also approved a new capex of 120 crores for manufacturing of specialty products at its Singer facility. Hence, this stock will remain in focus on back of the results. And next up is BEL on back of its order wins. Now, company has secured additional new orders worth 561 crores since the last disclosure of 23rd December 2024. While these orders with these orders, BEL has now accumulated orders totaling up to 10,362 crores for the current financial year. Hence, even this stock is what we'll be keeping on our radar.
All right, Upasana, thank you very much for that. Adani Energy and Piramal Enterprises are the other next two names we want to focus on. Vamakshi is standing by with details. Vamakshi, morning.
Well, good morning, Prashant. The Adani Energy Solutions will be in focus, going with the green for this counter, and that is because Q3 transmission network length stood at 26,485 circuit kilometers. This is an uptick of nearly 30% year-on-year is what they've witnessed. Q3 power transmission transformation capacity saw an uptick of almost 54%. The Q3 average system availability was more or less flat at 99.69%, and the transmission availability stood at 99.21%, slightly declining on a year-on-year basis, but going with the green for this counter. Piramal Enterprises is the next one that I'm watching out for. Keep in mind that the company earlier on June 26, 2018 had informed about the divestment of Piramal Imaging SA, which is a step-down subsidiary to Alliance Medical. The company has now been informed by Life Healthcare, which was a part of the group that acquired Piramal Imaging, that they have entered into a binding agreement for sale of Life Molecular, which is a member of the imaging group. Resultantly, on completion of this proposal, post-transaction, the company will become eligible to receive nearly $140 million in FY26. The company may also receive further amounts in subsequent years from any eligible profits and future earnouts relating to the imaging group. And this, amount has been capped at $200 million over the next couple of years. So going with the green on this counter on the back of this development.
Okay, all right, Vamakshi got it. So we're going to keep Pyramidal Enterprises on our radar as well. Let's quickly recap our list of stocks to watch this morning. The ones that have positive news flow are JSW Energy, Anand Rathi, Himat Specialty Chemical, BEL, Adani Energy, and Pyramidal Enterprises. Stocks with negative news flow are, well, HCLTech, maybe negative to neutral, you can say, United Spirits, Delta Corp, and Angel One. Okay, let's